Hello, good evening. Probably going to be a fairly short video tonight. Um, Show you what I'm going to do. I was telling you I was making the slips. This is what we essentially got. It's I ripped it down so it's a squared piece. What we're going to do is cut miters into the corner so that way I can go ahead and put these in here, and that's ultimately what's going to capture the drawer bottom. But I have to cut these at a 45 angle and then put them all the way around the inside of the box. All right, so I was going to go to my handy dandy miter box, which is a device used to help us keep make it easier to cut specific angles. And I realized that when I looked at it, I don't know if this is going to come up on camera, that says 35 degrees. I want a 45-degree miter. This was a miter box I made for another project. And I must have thrown out or gotten rid of the 45-degree one because over time they wear down and they're so easy to make that I figured I'd do that. They're much better. What we're going to do here is much better than any commercial any commercially made miter box, because this one is going to fit the saw I'm going to use exactly, and it'll be as accurate as I can. All right, so far I got two pieces of wood. This was at one time, I think it went this way. This at one time was one board, plain the face. I ripped it down, made it 1/2 inch, which is just a kind of a random amount that had to be slightly bigger than that. So now I've taken my marking gauge. This is just a little bit bigger than that. The size itself does not really matter much as long as it's bigger than that. I ran a line. I took my pencil and I ran that line in only for the fact that I want to be able to see it better. This side I know is perfectly flat. This side is square to it, and I'm going to do this one a little bit differently. The flat face is going to go face down. Square side will be on top. What I have here is double-sided tape. Stuff is really, really handy to have in the shop, so I'm going to put this below. I'm going to get close to my line. Does not have to be perfectly on it, just close. Gonna cut that off, save that for another time. And let's take that off. Good. So now I want to make sure I have the right end. That's got my my edge mark, my face mark. Now I'm going to the best of my ability, get this to sit right underneath the line I made. The more accurate I am now, the more accurate my miters will be later. And this side needs to come down just a bit. And I think that is pretty good. Good thing about the tape is I don't have to wait for any glue to dry. So we're going to give that a good solid squeeze. Okay. And so far so good. Next step is we got to get the miter set up. The face that I want to work off of is the inside, and it doesn't really matter where this line goes. I like to have one on one side, and then I can flip it around and do a miter on the other side. I think I can get away with just one side, but I'm going to make sure that this is tight. Nice 45, light pass, a little heavier. Okay, now we are going, you won't be able to see this from your side. I'll show you what I'm doing in a second. I'm going to put let's do it this way. I'm going to put my knife right in that mark, slide the square over to it. This line here is a little less important, but it gives me something to shoot for, and should always, at the very least, shoot for accuracy. So right now, can get the light over here. Right now I have got the score line matches this perpendicular. So I know this is 45, this is 90. Let's cut that out. I'm gonna give myself a little place for the saw to ride in. You know what, I'm going to just move that down a little bit. All right. Here I've got my cross-cut saw. This is a saw I'm going to use to actually cut the pieces to make this a little easier. Going to give it a little oil. Going to go right into that mark that I made. And I'm doing this at nighttime and I forgot to turn on my extra light. So doing that just to set the 45-degree angle, and now I'm going to just saw straight down that line I have on the inside that I know you can't see. Very light push. Going down, and I'm just going to kind of kiss the surface. All right. Again, let's see if I can angle that to the light. So right here I go straight down, and this there. So I know that when I'm cutting my angles, that is going to give me an exact 45 degrees. Gonna set. Actually, you know what? I'm going to set it up this way because it's easier for me to hold. And I can tell because I hit the surface on the inside that I've got to push this forward a little bit farther. There you go. So I'm going to take off the least amount of wood possible. Going to just kind of set the saw in there. My grip here is very light. I'm just letting the saw go right down the path I already made. That's garbage. Boom. And we have a miter, and I have a miter that goes the wrong way because I'm an idiot. So let's turn that around and try it again. All right, so didn't cut all the way through that one. That was kind of a mistake on my part because now I am embarrassed. We do that, go back to my miter, and let's have a look. And that is, you know, I didn't have a chance to prep that. Look how perfect that is. I may clean it up. I may clean it up on the on a shooting board, but here. So now I'm going to put this in. Make sure this is tight. Do I have the bottom? No, I want the bottom specifically. Going to put that here. I want my long point to be here. So now, let's see how we're going to do this one. We're going to put that long point. It's on the wrong face, but just going to mark that. And this does not need to be perfect. And because that saw is right where, that mark is right where I want the saw to be, you know, I'm going to give myself just a little bit extra room because I can plane it down when I'm finished. Felt a little resistance, so what I did was let up a little bit. So this will go right in there. Just like that. So now I'm going to use I'm going to, you know, cut the miter the other way. Gonna, you know, because right now it's going the wrong way. I'm gonna cut the miter the other way, measure this one, take the other piece, do the same there, and I do have to make sure, like I marked that with the top, so I know that one goes up because I want that side specifically facing upwards, so that way I know that when I put it all together, that the grooves are the same size. I try to get the groove in the middle, but if you look carefully, this side is a little bit thicker than the other side. So if I flip it in some way, it won't match up exactly as I want. But that is that's how we make that's how we make the slips. It's interesting that it's the first time I'm doing it, but that is, you know, how we make a miter box. You've seen me do picture frames. That's where I used the last one of these, and because I made so many of them over time, over time, this slot will get worn down a little bit due to inaccuracies on my part, just repetitive motions. And once it gets too wide, it's no good. But right now, hold on, I'm not getting the angle right. It fits that saw perfectly. So it's better than any commercially made one I'm going to find. It took me 20 minutes to plane everything down, and 10 minutes into this video, you saw me put it together, set it up, cut the angles, and make the first piece out of it. So really not a very time consuming thing to do, and the benefits you get from it is well worth the time to make a poor man's miter box. All right, thanks for watching.